privileged to be teaching and mentoring them for about a year and a half after I retired. I started to feel this conviction inside me very strongly percolating over the last 2 years. While I was serving in that job, that as important as it is to help Serbia and Kazakhstan, America is in trouble right now. And America is at a key crossroads. And my 26 years of experience and education are needed at home. And they're needed to be helping in our own country. Not, it's important to be helping our partner nations, but I was really feeling that conviction that America is in peril, and we need leadership, and we need persistence, and we need some moral courage, and it's needed at home. So I literally, Gabby Gifford announced that she was stepping down on January 22nd. And this was percolating inside me for about a year, but I didn't even know kind of what it even meant. But in the course of about 24 hours after that announcement, I knew exactly what that meant. And by the 28th of January, I was on an airplane coming home. I didn't bring anything with me because I thought even in this crazy decision to think about stepping up to serve in this new way, I thought I would come here for 9 days or so. I would figure out how do you run for Congress? I don't even know. What do you do? Like, you're going to file something, right? You probably need some signatures. You probably need a little money. Like, I really just didn't even know. So I thought I'd come home for 9 days. I would see if I had 3 green lights, is what I was looking for, because in my sort of rational, objective, analytical brain that I have, I wanted to analyze and get 3 green lights. Is it technically feasible for me to run? Like, what requirements are there, and can I meet them in time? Am I electable? I mean, am I the kind of person that the people of Southern Arizona want to represent them, and does it make sense? Am I the right fit?
Yes.
I'm not going to force myself, thank you. I'm not going to certainly force myself in the community. And do I feel convicted and called to do this? Because there was a part of me, I got to be honest, after serving for 26 years, and all the sacrifices that come with that many of you know, those personal sacrifices, the moves, the deployments, did not having a life, not owning your life. I had sort of was ready for a new season where I felt like I was going to have more balance in my life, and I was looking forward to that, and I was actually sort of enjoying that. And so I had to get to this place where I was willing to sort of step up to serve again and sacrifice again. After 26 years of doing it, you guys understand. I had to mentally feel like I was convicted and called to do this, because it does come at a cost. The lifestyle of this kind of service is certainly very exhausting. Putting yourself out there for all the character assassination and the slander that I've already experienced, and all that goes with that is something you got to be called so that you're able to endure the fire. And so I wanted those 3 green lights. And by the time I landed home on January 29th, I still didn't know whether it was technically feasible or whether I was electable, but I felt so strongly convicted and called to duty that this is exactly what I needed to do. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning on the 30th. I resigned my position as a professor, and I told my boss I'm running for Congress. I faxed over some powers of attorney and said, can you send me my dog? Can you ship me my stuff and my car? Eventually, it's all stuff. Who cares about that? Out-process me from the government. I'm home, and I'm stepping up to serve again. And so I jumped into the special election for CD8. I had a 68-day campaign, literally from a cold start. I mean, literally my first phone call after I quit was to Pima County GOP. Hi, how do you run for Congress? My name's Martha McNally, and Patch is like, who is this? We already have 3 people in the race. And I was like, yeah, I know, but you're gonna have 4 now. And she's like, you sure you don't want to run for the school board? No. She's, no, I can come meet you this afternoon. I'm running for Congress, And I was like, this is totally crazy. Yeah, so we jumped in, and I was just amazed how it all came together, honestly. We were managing chaos for 68 days. I mean, we were doing everything. We call it, building the airplane as we're flying it. Which I'm used to in the military. You're really used to, managing chaos and kind of crisis management. And in a lot of ways, even though I knew nothing about sort of politics, in some ways it was just like commanding a squadron. It's like, okay, we need to have a strategy and a plan, and then we gotta execute it. We need logistics, we need manpower, we need money, we need communications, we need intelligence. I need to set the climate and, you know, as the leader of kind of how we're going to conduct ourselves to make sure everybody is under that climate and those core values that I have. And then we got to be able to be flexible and nimble and deal, you know, basically be able to deal with crisis management. And so in that way, it actually is not much different than, you know, than being a fighter pilot, being a commander of a squadron. There are many things that were very different in my experience so far. And in some ways, I kind of joked about it. It's similar to Afghanistan. It's kind of like a combat zone, and you don't know, like, they're friendly during the day and they're your enemy at night, you know, so you don't even know, like, where to find the friendlies. So in that way, it was also applicable. But 68 days later, we were very blessed that we basically won the voting on election day in the special election primary. And we came in a strong second overall to Jessica Kelly. And I was so proud of my team and really everybody who came around to support me, many of you are in this room, in order to make that happen. We really shocked everybody. I mean, like, where does she come from? I mean, people remembered me because I've been very involved in this community. They remembered that person who sued the Secretary of Defense. But, you know, my name ID was very low because they didn't remember it was Martha McSally. But we, in 68 days, we were pretty successful. So I never would have imagined, you know, as we were supporting our nominee in the special election, and, you know, for about 8 weeks, I was basically thinking, okay, I quit my job, I ran for Congress, now what am I going to do? You know, I mean, it seriously was like, I got to start looking for another job. And, you know, through an amazing turn of events that we never would have imagined, you know, we're now in a very strong position with 89 days to go to November 6th to be the Republican nominee, and to, you know, to beat Ron Barber and to represent CD2 in Congress. I never would have imagined it would have played out that way, but that's kind of how it's played out, and I'm very grateful, and just continuing to kind of step out for what I believe is a conviction and call to duty. You know, what are the issues that I think are facing our community and our nation? I mean, I'll give it to you, but again, this is not a one-way conversation. This comes from a lot of discussions with people like you in many different settings. The number one issue is the economy. Do you guys agree? That, I mean, we are in the absolute worst recovery, not just the worst recession since the Great Depression, but the worst recovery since the Great Depression. Normally, deep recessions are followed by strong bounce backs. If anyone studied economics. But the poor policies that have been in place and kind of, I think, the intervention to the free market by the federal government that continues to basically have our debt continue to rise, is, from my view, suffocating what is our road to recovery. The way we're going to get out of this is growth, right? The way we're going to get out of the uncertainty that we're in right now, because there's so much uncertainty. Businesses are not hiring. People are not spending their money, right? You guys are probably not spending your money in the way maybe you did even 5 years ago. Even many of you are on a fixed income because of the uncertainty, right? What's coming around the corner? So people are not, you know, businesses, which are the 7 of 10 jobs come from small businesses. They're not hiring because they don't know what are the taxes going to look like? What are the mandates going to look like? What other regulations are going to come down on us? So we're just going to sort of hoard our capital, not hire, not spend. Banks are not loaning, and so we're sort of stuck in this thing where if we don't grow our way out of this, then the revenue to the government keeps going down, and then the debt keeps going up because we keep spending, right? This is not rocket science, it's just math. So, you know, if we're looking at economic recovery and the concern that I think we all have about our debt and the road that we're on right now, which is similar to the road that Greece and Spain and other countries in Europe are on, we have got to grow our way out of this while we're showing fiscal discipline. So that's the way we need to move forward, and that's not the way we've been conducting ourselves right now. Did you have comments?
The problem with the economy, in my opinion, is a direct result of the unintended consequences of the very Congress that you're trying to become a member of.
Yeah.
Barney Frank and his idiot brother Chris Dodd, and the whole housing debacle, followed by the lunacy of Congress that hasn't passed a budget
Right.
in 100 how many months or years?
3.5 years, yeah.
business is sitting